So we can start. So hello everyone. Today's session we will be having displaying list and using material design, unit 3. And in that I'll be trying to cover pathway 1 and 2. In this, basically, we will be dealing with more Kotlin fundamentals. As we remember in the previous sessions, we have all learned about Kotlin fundamentals. Do you all remember that? I assume you all remember because like all the basic features of Kotlin we had discussed there. So here more fundamental features in that we have generics, different kinds of classes, singleton and companion objects, and some other properties for properties and functions. Okay. So first of all, we will start with generics. Generic type, or generics for a short, allow a data type such as class to specify an unknown placeholder data type that can be used with its properties and methods. Let us take an example of Google search. Now, whenever all of us must have used Google search in our life, right? So in that, when you are going to search, is there a specific data type like you will only search a string, or you will only search an integer, or you will search an image? We do not have a specific data type, right? So in that case, we can use this generics where we do not have a specific type like this is going to be the input or this is going to be the data type. Another example can be the normal Google Forms. If you have any exams on Google Forms, in that we can have a question which is a fill in the blanks question where the answer is a short word or let us say a short string. And then we have some true or false questions like we give a statement and you have to answer true or false. In that the answer can be a boolean. It can be either true or false. And then if we have a sum, say 2 plus 2, the answer is an integer 4. So that one single test has various different types of data types in its answers, for its answer. So that is in that we can use generics where we do not have a specific data type. So as I was saying, sometimes we do not have a specific data type that we are going to get as an output that we are going to use because it can be string, integer, image, anything. So in that we use generics and the normal syntax for this is class name, like we define a normal class and then we have a generic data type followed by the properties that we will be using. A generic data type is provided when instantiating a class, so it needs to be defined as a part of the class signature. As you can see here, we have this class name, class name, and then generic data. So it is a part of class signature. After the class names, this is like the description of the syntax that we are using for this generics. After that, there are two types of different kinds of classes. First is a enum class. It is used to create types with limited set of possible values. For example, if we have a thing where they have to give the directions in which we are accepting north, south, east, and west, only the 4 directions. In that, if someone writes, say summer, winter, or any other thing, but then we are accepting only the 4 directions as inputs. In that case, we can use enum class in which we have a limited set of possible values. By saying limited set of possible values, we mean we already have the we already define the things that we can take as the possible values and anything outside that set cannot be used. For this, we have the syntax enum class and then we have the enum name. And in that we have case 1, case 2, case 3. In the example which I mentioned earlier, like northeast, west, south, here we will have say enum class directions. And in that case 1, case 2, case 3, case 4 will be east, west, north, south. Classes that don't have any methods that perform an action can be defined as data class. Defining a class as data class allows Kotlin compiler to make certain assumptions and to automatically implement some methods. So as we already discussed enum class earlier, after that we have a data class. Data class is a class in which we do not have any other action. We only have data. So in this case, what happens? There are some functions like println or scanner like that. So if we don't need to use that, and we just have some data that is stored in that. Like if we have 4 directions stored, that is only data and no actions have to be taken. In that, if we define it as a data class, it becomes easier for Kotlin compiler it will assume it as a data class and implement it, and it can implement some methods. After this, we have singleton. A singleton is a class that can have only a single instance. Kotlin provides a special constructor called object that can be used to make a singleton class. Now, for example, if we create some application, or if we have a thing where only one person, or where you can log in only from one device. For example, if we make a clone of Instagram, in normal Instagram, we have the feature where we can log in from multiple devices. But if we want to create something which is highly secure and we can access it only from one device, or only one instance can be used, in that we use singleton objects. Singleton, in this we have like the normal syntax: object followed by object name, and then we have the body. And if we want to access any object in this class, then you have object name dot property name. That is like, this is the basic syntax for singleton. After that, we have companion objects. In companion objects, they allow you to access its properties and methods from inside the class if the object's properties and methods belong to that class, allowing for more concise syntax. In this also, we have a simple syntax: companion object, and then we have object name followed by the body. After this, there is another important concept of collections. Can anyone tell what do you know about collections, or what is collection? So collection, the name itself is very self-explanatory. Collections as in like a collection of some things. We can say in this meet, the people who are present, they are collection of students, right? So similarly for in programming also we have collections, and in that we have various types. One and the most basic, which all of you might have heard earlier, is array. An array is a sequence of values that have same data type. An array contains multiple values called elements, or sometimes items. The elements in an array are ordered and accessed with an index. So simple example, if we have a set of say roll number ranging from 1, 2, 3, 4 to 100. So it is an array which has 100 elements in it, and all the data types are similar. In roll number, you cannot have roll number 1, 2, 3, 4 and then E or F. All the roll numbers will be numbers. So they have similar data type. Or if you have names, a set of names, again, all the names will be strings. A name cannot be number. Your name cannot be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is an array. It is a sequence of values that have some data, that have same data type. And again, to access, and they are all ordered, like they have a number. Say we have an array ABC. So in that array, if we have 10 elements, then they all have an index. So the first index for in arrays, it is 0. So we have 0th element, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. Like this, we have total 10 elements in that array. After that, we have a list. A list is an ordered resizable collection, typically implemented as a resizable array. When the array is filled to the capacity and you try to insert a new element, the array is copied to the new bigger array. After that, we have set. A set is a collection that does not have a specific order and doesn't allow to duplicate values. So for example of set, we can say it has all the unique values. Like in array, we can have repeated. In one array, we can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 7, 8, 4, 3, like that. We can have values which are repeating, but in a set, we need to have unique values or unique elements in that. But there is no order. Like you do not need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can have 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, anything. Just you can't duplicate the values. And another important thing in collections is map. A map is a collection consisting of keys and values. Map, again, the name is self-explanatory. If we have a map to a place, and that place also exists in real world. So when you are in one place and you see, like now I am in Kharghar and now I have to go to Nerul. So you check the directions on the map, and on real road when you will walk, you will go to from Kharghar to Nerul. You will go in that place. So similarly, a map is collection consisting of keys and values. It's called a map because unique keys are mapped to other values. A key's accompanying value are often called a key value pair. Again, in this map, we can have say we are having a map of roll number and name. Then again, every roll number is a unique value and every name is a unique value, and they are connected or they are linked. Like for roll number 1, if we have Shreya, for roll number 2, if we have Sudhanshu, for roll number 3, if we have something else. So every unique value in roll number is mapped to every unique name, and that is the concept of map, and they are key value pair. After this, yeah. After this, there are some functions which we can use with collections. Collections, as I mentioned, array, lists, maps, and set. In that, we can use some higher order functions to make the operations easier. So the map function, we have one function called map function, which lets you transform a collection into a new collection with the same number of elements. Let us say we have a program for bakery, and in that bakery we have some cookies, we have some cakes, and we have some other element, we have some other things, and then we have one map, like for number, for one the element, the thing is cookie, for two it is cake, for three it is pastry, and then we have another map in which for one we have the cost of cookies, for two we have the cost of pastry, and for three we have the cost of cake in the similar order. So using these two maps you can transform them into a single map where you have for one the element is cookie and we have the cost of cookie, for two we have pastry and the price of pastry, and three cake and the cost of cake. So like this, clubbing it together, making a another using a collection to make a new collection, you can use map function. After that, we have the filter function. The filter function lets you create a subset of collection. For example, if you have a list of numbers, say 1 to 100, and if you use a filter function, then you can filter out the values of numbers which are divisible by 2. Or say if you want to filter out numbers which are prime numbers, or you want to filter out numbers which are divisible by 10 or divisible by 5, or anyway, if you want to filter out and to get a subset of the collection, you can use filter function. After that, we have the group by function. This can be used to turn a list into a map. This is like similar to the first one which we mentioned, based on a function. Each unique return value of the function becomes a key in the resulting map. The value for each key are all the items in the collection that produce the unique return value. Say we have 5 lists. In first list we have names, in second list we have roll number, in third list we have email ID, in fourth list we have branch, and in fifth list we have division or anything. So we can transform that into a map by using this group by function where we will where we will be having a map and all the data will be together. And after that, the last thing is fold function. The fold function is used to generate a single value from a collection. This is the most commonly used thing, like calculating a total of prices or summing of all elements in a list to find an average. Again, like the example is already mentioned in fold function, say you have a list which has marks of all students and you want to calculate the total marks, then you can use fold function where you will get a single value as the output. Or you have the height of students in a class and you want to calculate the average height of that class, so you can use the fold function. You will use the data or a collection and you will get an output which is a single value. That was it about unit 1 and about all the concepts which were mentioned in this. I hope it is clear. If you have any doubts about anything, you can ask in the chat box. Otherwise, Sudhanshu, you can continue.
So guys, I will be explaining the pathway to some part of pathway 2 and pathway 3 of unit 3 of the Android Jetpack Compose camp. So I'm sharing the screen, just confirm if it is visible. Yeah, so guys, let's start. So guys, do you know exactly what a launcher icon is? So a launcher icon is a graphic that represent your application on the device home screen and in the launcher window. The user opens the launcher by touching the icon at the bottom of the home screen. So this icon basically represents your whole app and it's a graphic representation of it. So yeah, I will be giving you a gist of how to place your files for your launcher icon and how to replace it or design it, something like that. So let's move on. So as you can see, this is your basic files. This is the part of your project where you show your files that are required in your project. So all your resources are stored in your rest folder. So if you open that and if you open your map maps, as you can see over here, we have two folders, IC Launcher and IC Route. So these are basically the folders where all the images for your launcher icon are stored. Similarly, if you open your drawable folder, this is the part where you get your XML files for your launcher folder. Now you must be wondering, there are two files over here, background and foreground. What exactly are they? So let me explain that. Yeah, before that, these are some of the notations that are represented. MDPI is for resources for medium density screens, HDPI is resource for high density screens. Similarly, XHDPI, double XHDPI, triple XHDPI are for higher level density screens. So moving ahead. Yeah, so what exactly is adaptive icons? Adaptive icons was released as of Android 8.0. Uh, uh, in this, we have two basic layers. One is your background layer, and the other is your foreground layer. So your app icon has basically two layers, one the foreground and one the background. And combining both, we get the basic app icon that we have today. So I will be showing both of that over here. So as you can see over here, this I have opened the IC Launcher background file. This, as you can see, this is the default background layer for your app. So basically, when you develop an app and you don't always put your launcher icon first. So Android Studio provides you with a default icon, and this will be that default icon background. Similarly, this will be your default icon foreground. So now you must be wondering that what like nowadays we see icons that are customly developed. Each icon is different and they are not all the same. So how do we exactly do that? So as you can see, both of these are just images. So you can put two images and like combine it and then edit them in your XML file so that you can get the desired icon. So how exactly to do that? So if you go over in your Android Studio, you have a resource manager. So if you click in this and if you click on the plus and choose image asset, because this both are images, so we are going to import them as image. So if we click on image asset, the window appears over here. So yeah, you can import your file from a pathway that you want. Like if you browse over here, you will get a folder from where you can browse and choose the icon. And similarly, you can choose you can import for foreground as well as background if you want. So yeah, that's it for the Android launcher icon part. Similarly, you can edit like the color and all in the XML files code version. If you see over here, we can change the color as we have done over here, and it's with stroke, etc., etc. Yeah, so moving on. So in the first two units, you have basically covered some basic parts of on how to create your um apps and scrollable list. But today I will be like helping you to make your app a little bit more attractive and presentable. As you know, user interface is very important nowadays. If we open a certain app and the user interface is not that attractive or user friendly, we lose our interest in it very quickly, and we like change we go to another app or search another app for this. So yeah, so I have taken a basic app over here and I will show you how to improvise it and how to beautify it so it can be more presentable. Just remember how it is now and how we are going to present it after a couple of changes. So, as you know, your apps can be like modified or beautified by certain simple steps. That is adding color, changing its typography, adding animations, adding padding, making it a more presentable. Yeah, so let's move on. So first of all, this screen is looking a bit blonde, so I will be adding color to it. So yeah, each color has a specific code, as you can see over here. This is the code for a shade of gray. So typing this code every time is a headache. So I will be replacing it with a simpler version that is gray 50. So each time when I have to use that, I will just put gray 50 and I will be done with that. So yeah, moving on, I have given each color word so that we know what exactly it is used for. Like green 100 will be used for background, green 50 will be used for surface, then your secondary color is gray 700, etc. etc. Yeah, so let's get on with the main stuff now. So what am I exactly am I doing here? Yes, I first of all I will be using a modifier function and applying a color to my background and as you know we uh, have stored green 100 as your background color. So over here, the stuff that is highlighted, you can see I use the word background and it will store the color green 100 over there and apply it to the screen. Similarly, over here for the rows, all the rows that you can see over here, that means the first row is Koda, the second row is for Lola. So each row will be applied color that is surface and each one I have expanded them to the maximum width and applied them a little padding to make it presentable. So after using both of these functions you can see that your app has become a little bit more presentable. You can see the background color is different. The all the rows have been given a different color. So, do you feel that this is okay, or we can do a little bit more? Of course, we can do a little bit more. So, what we are going to do, many of you may know that in WhatsApp, as you can see when you see a particular person's profile pic, it is in a circular shape. So, we will be adding that. So, how exactly are we going to do that is in your where you have stored the image, you are going to add two functions to your modifier class. That is, one is clip round corner shape and set it to 50. So what exactly is clip? We are clipping your image and going to put it in a circular shape. And what is content scale? Content scale crop. It is basically the function that is used to crop the image in such a way that it fills your uh, clipped circular part exactly. So that will be for your image part. Secondly, what we are going to do that we are going to, as you can see, the row over here is in a rectangular shape, but we can change it a little bit and we can do it in a more of a curved way. So what I have done over here, I have added a card variable. So what exactly this is that it changes your uh, it is basically a type of a substitute to your um what we added here, round corner shape, it is basically a substitute to that. Like don't have to write for each and every row. Like you have multiple rows over here, right? So if we use this round corner clipping function, you will have to write it for each and every row. Uh, so that will be a little hectic. So we can use the card function over here, and we can just uh, uh, use all your rows inside it. So if you may not be knowing, the default for default roundness for your card function is medium, and I prefer it to be ideal, so I just kept it like that. So after combining both of these functions, you can see that your image is also looking better, and similarly your rows are looking a little more attractive. So now we can go towards your typography. What exactly typography? Typography is basically your font style, font weight, font size, etc. So what I did here is I stored some different font styles, font family, and font sizes into different words like H1, H2, H3, body in that, so that they are easier to access. So when you are like we are going to edit the text in your these two in this row, so they are in the form of columns. In your column 1 it's Coda, and in your column 2 it's 2 years old. So what we exactly did here, that we put the style is equal to material theme typography, and we are going to prefer H2 over here. And similarly for the dog's age, we are going to put body 1 over here. So after this, you can see the font had changed. For it, we used H2 for the names of the dog. So it was a bit bolder, and uh, its size was a little bit more than what you have for the dog's age. So that was for typography. Now, as you guys know that all the apps that we use nowadays, like WhatsApp, Instagram, basically have a top app bar. When you open the app, you may notice that they have a app bar in which the name of their app is written, and they have some functionalities such as search option or options like that. So we are going to add a top bar to our app. So let's move on. So what exactly we have planned over here? So to just add a icon of a app and a text, basically consisting the name of our app. So we just added a row function, and we added the image over here, and we added the text over here. As you know the syntaxes for that, I won't be explaining it in much detail. So if we move on with that, you can see we get default app icon and the name of our app, that is Woof. So that doesn't look a little bit presentable, so we'll modify it a little bit. So what exactly we are going to do is we added a modifier function, and we gave a different background color than our original background, that was green 100, and we gave it a little bit of alignment and stretched it to its max width. So after that, you can see our top bar is looking a lot more prettier than it was earlier. So as you can see, that's the part for top bar. Uh, you know that we can expand option and your animation options are used a lot in your apps nowadays. And basically, your animation option adds uh, a lot of it beautifies your app and improvises your user interface in such a way that people tend to use it more. even when you slide your screen, you have an animation right over there which helps you to like present your screen in such a way. So we are going to add this, add one expandable option and an animation for our app too. So over here, first of all, we are going to import the libraries that are needed for uh, using the expand option. Secondly, we are using going to uh, first of all import the icon button. So basically, when you have to expand, you have icon. As you can see, this is the expand icon. So when I click this, you get the options, expanded options that are for any particular thing. So we are going to use that icon first. Then what we are exactly going to do that we defined it as we are going to just use expand is equal to expanded. Basically on click we have added the function such that when we click the icon button, sorry, we when we click the expand icon, it basically is going to expand itself. And as you can see, we added a little text over here so that when it expand, you get a little bit info about what exactly the dog likes or something like that. So yeah, now let's move on towards adding animations. So my personal favorite is the spring animation, and I tend to use it in a lot of my apps. So what exactly is the spring animation, and where I'm going to add it? So as you know that when we click on the expand option, you can see it just opens the part where expanded menu. So we are going to add our animation in to this expanded menu. So when you click on the expand icon, when the row is getting expanded, it will get a little animation to it. So yeah, we added it in the this first we are going to import the files needed for animation. Secondly, what we are going to do is we added the animation spec, that is the spring animation. This is the um, basic syntax for it. You can note it down. And I set its stiffness to low so that it is more bouncy. And so what exactly is the spring animation is, as you can see, when you click on the icon, it goes down like a spring and bounces a little, and when you click again, it goes up and bounces a little. So that exactly is how you beautify your app and you make it a more presentable. And so now moving towards the last part. So once you are done with creating your app, how are you going to test it? So there are a couple of methods. I'm going to show one of it now. So yeah, so this is basically the app screen that we developed for the book app. And what we are going to do is we are going to run it over here. So if we click on run, just a second, the Gradle is building, it takes a little time. So as you can see, this is basically the emulator. It's basically a visual representation of your mobile where you can run all your apps and test with how they are working. So you can change the um, emulator devices according to your needs. So I have choose the Pixel 3 for testing my app. So you can test your apps over here. So how it looks, how it is fitting on the screen, how the scroll function is working, are you facing any errors, or some of the rows are going out of your screen, is it looking good and all. You can also as you can see, you get all your apps stored over here. Yeah, as you can see, I changed the app icon over here. So if I click on that, my app opens. and you can check your app and all its functionality over here. If you are not happy with that, you can also connect your mobile or your tablets to your Android Studio. You get option. You can connect it using USB or even Wi-Fi. So you can test your apps with much ease compared to anything, and if you can see if they are working properly. And at the end, if you need any feedbacks, you can always ask your friends and your colleagues to check it out and give you feedbacks regarding that. So yeah, that's it from my side. If you have not started, you can start the course. Here's the link for that. And yeah, guys, if you have any doubts, you can ask in the chat box, or you can unmute and ask over here too.